Hey, everybody, welcome. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday. There's a couple things that happened today, right? This morning, actually. One of which being some very important motions Hank filed um, pertaining to Karen Reed's communications with David Yannetti, right? And I think two things. I think he has um, a very good chance of, first of all, his legal standing on it is very good. Attorney-client privilege can only be waived by the client, really, right? So David Yannetti himself can't waive the privilege, but Karen can in a few ways. One, by basically putting it all out there, which no normal defendant usually does. But if it's unintentional, it doesn't count. But because she did the Vanity Fair article, because she did the investigation discovery documentary, because she did all those things, and she knew that all of that could be used against her, they actually put a footnote in the Vanity Fair article somewhere. And I'm pretty sure it's the investigation discovery documentary where she says she knows that they can use that against her. She's very well aware that anything she says can be used against her, yet she still chooses to disclose parts of the conversations that she had with David Yannetti. Now that becomes relevant because you just willingly gave core parts of a conversation out to the general public nationwide, which gave Hank the right to ask for those communications. And so now he is asking for the texts, calls, and emails between Karen Reed and David Yannetti from January 29th, 2022 to February 2nd, 2022. Yes, the Commonwealth did get access, James. Well, yesterday it was approved. Anna, isn't that amazing? So yesterday it was approved. So that whole, spiel that they did coming into the courtroom and all that, it didn't help them not one bit. The judge allowed Hank to get Aiden's communications with Karen. So too bad, so sad for him. That happened. Hi, Penny. Hi, Jane, Lou, Leah, Anna. Hello, everybody. But I find it fascinating that Hank went for the jugular on this one. He's like, oh, well, you basically waived your client privilege, so I'm going to take that attorney-client privilege. Now, that's the big question, Jane. Will Hank get them? Well, here's my take on it. Here's my analysis, my opinion, okay? Is he has solid legal footing to ask for it and get it. But do I think Bev will give it? I don't. I don't think Judge Cannoni will give it to him. She should. He does have solid legal ground he's arguing it on, but I just don't think she'll give it, unfortunately. Oh, there you are, Freak. Welcome to be with us. Not late, cough, 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 today. Hey, Aaron. Yeah, methodology. But I mean, yes, I just don't think that the judge will give it. That's the shit part. Knowing the way this judge operates, I think she's going to think those communications is a very slippery ground to give it to Hank. But Hank also has other arguments, which are he has the right to use it to argue this third party culprit / Bowden defense that the defense is throwing out there, because those communications basically debunk those defenses that they want to use. You can't keep saying things like, could I have run over his foot, David Yannetti? Did I run over his foot? Could I have, all of these things that she said and then disclosed to either Gretchen Voss, Vanity Fair, or the investigation discovery, and that she knew the world was going to see. You waived your privilege to those conversations when you did that. You didn't do it unintentionally. You did it very intentionally. You knew that this was going to be used. These are all things that you knew could be used against you. It's kind of common sense, but even further, that the Commonwealth tried to get the interviews in the first trial. So she knew damn well, especially doing Vanity Fair and Investigation Discovery, that I'll point out both of those were not because Vanity Fair or Investigation Discovery went to Karen and said, Karen, we want to do your story. Both the Vanity Fair and Investigation Discovery happened because her attorneys went to those publications and said, hey, will you cover this story? We'll give you all the access you want to her if you just do these stories. That's how desperate they were to get all of this out in public view and try to spin their narrative. Is they went to publications. The publications didn't go, these two publications did not go to them. They went to the publications and said, me, spin my theory, please. We'll give you all the access to Karen that you want. Absurdity. Yes, exactly. She put them there, you know? Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's like, I'm 50-50, but he is on solid legal ground what he's arguing. You know, he is. But Bev is not always willing to give the Commonwealth everything that they should. There were some easy motions, like right in the beginning of this second trial, that Hank filed for, that any other judge would have given, because they're like procedurally almost always given, that she denied. And it kind of threw me for a loop. It didn't really make any sense. But I think some of the things that we knew the defense is basically going to argue against anything that's going to blow up their conspiracy. So they're going to keep filing motions for reconsideration. So what a motion for reconsideration is basically the judge has already made a decision on whatever motion. And a motion for reconsideration is for the judge to reconsider that motion. And then whether it's the Commonwealth or the defense throws another argument into the mix, it's like a second chance to get the judge to rule your way. Most of the time, a motion to reconsider fails miserably, almost 90% of the time, unfortunately. Hey, Jack. So it just is what it is. The motion to reconsider that Karen's attorneys filed against, I think it was Dr. Welcher, I think. That one will be denied by Canoni again, because there's no reason to have that. Like, she already denied it. They're going to have that expert. You can keep saying you don't want that expert all you want, unless he can, word salad his way around in circles for, 3 hours. It doesn't change anything. You guys noticed yesterday, not only did the judge and Hank both made it well known in the courtroom, like, oh, Mr. Alessi, we know you're well prepared, aka like, you need to read like, he loses people because he has to read every case he's citing, and he reads it and then he rants a little, and then he reads it more and then he rants a little, and then he reads it and he rants a little. The problem with that is that the cases that he's citing aren't actually, like, here's the thing. They have to do a little bit with what he's talking about, but not enough for the judge to want to rule on it their way, right? Like, when you cite a case, you want it as close to the actual issue that you're arguing as you can get, right? And when they tried this whole let me bring in the YouTuber thing with this guy who wants to tell a jury how he doesn't agree about police investigations and how they could have been done better. This retired FBI agent, who, by the way, yes, is a YouTuber, goes on YouTube shows all the time. And he's retired FBI. He is not a retired Massachusetts State Police. He is not a retired Canton PD. I don't even think he's from in-state. I think he's out of state, as far as I remember. You don't get to sit there and scrutinize. And there's actually case law behind people not being allowed to testify to what they think a police investigation should look like, or what they would have done in a police investigation, or what they think standard practice is. There's actually, like, specific cases in case law that cite why people are not allowed to do that. I will tell you, as I did yesterday, there is not a single case of somebody being allowed to do that as in part of a Bowden defense in the state of Massachusetts. It does not exist. Does not exist. And I knew that, obviously, right away, as you guys saw. because I called it even before the judge did. It just doesn't exist. It's not there. Like, it's just not, like, you know, oh, she'll always feed her ego, Anna. It's just something that she will always do, unfortunately. You guys might hear echo. I'm at my sister's. I am babysitting today. The baby's asleep, but I am in like the playroom area so that I don't disturb the baby and I don't disturb my sister while she's working in the other room. So on average, for the first time in 30 years, it's for my arthritis. Girl, my arthritis is killing me. My fibro has been flaring for the last couple of days. I am in so much pain. I feel you. I was pissed when the defense entourage walked in on Hank's motion. It was just ignorant. I hear you, Penny. It was ignorant. It was an ignorant statement they were trying to make. And then Karen sits there and she knows she's on TV and just stares at Hank and then makes this face and turns around, like, completely narcissistically unaware. And most narcissists and cluster B personalities are completely unaware of what they look like to other people. In their brain, they look like they're the best. They're awesome. They're fantastic. When in reality, they look awful, terrible, because they are terrible human beings. Like, it's just that simple. Like, you know, I agree with you, Jack. Go Hank, but I don't have a total confidence in Canoni that she's going to give it to him. He's on solid legal footing asking for those communications, and he lays it out beautifully in the motion. I can read it to you guys if you guys haven't seen it. You just let me know, but it's amazing to me. It is. Like, I'm not saying people don't deserve a zealous defense. People do deserve a zealous defense, but there is a line as a defense attorney that you don't cross. And this isn't a zealous defense. This is a slimy, sneaky, lying defense. You can defend your client until the cows come home. What you don't get to do is knowingly blame innocent people and try to destroy their lives while doing it, and then not have candor to the court. Remember, the judge found that the defense team has repeatedly misrepresented, lied, not had candor to the court on purpose. That was what she found. That is what she found in a whole thing she had to say to the court. That's not something you normally see, just saying, in court. Like, that means it was pretty bad. And this judge has been pretty lax with them. So for her to even go that far should tell you quite a bit, you know? Oh yeah, that's exactly what it was for, Anna. They had to put on a show for the cult, you know. It was something for them to talk about, like, ooh, watch what they did, guys. And it was only hours later where the judge was like, yeah, no, we're allowing it, sorry. Like, so I don't know what good they thought it did them. It really didn't. It kind of pissed off the judge, you know? Like, and pissing off the judge is never something you want to do, ever. Like, that was the next thing I was going to talk about, Leon. Thank you. The federal court. So what happened this morning was Karen's team asked the federal court to stay her state case. So basically, she asked the federal court to stay, which means stop her trial from going forward right now until she gets an answer on her appeal. And the federal court almost immediately slapped that down completely and said, nah, bro, we're not doing that. And it was denied. So that means the trial goes forward. And oh, well, too bad, so sad. You wait for your decision from the federal court, which I have no doubt, once again, will be denied. This appeal, they can appeal it until the cows come home. It's just, there is solid legal ground that you're not going to get around when it comes to this. There was no double jeopardy. There was no verdict read. There was no verdict because those people didn't change their minds. They knew they couldn't agree. So that was the last vote that they had. They could have, you know how many votes they probably had before that? So if you want to do that, then you have to count every vote. So if they all started with all guilty, or 90% of them guilty, then let's go with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not, come on, man. Like, a verdict is only good if it is read to the public. If it was read out in court, and it was not read out in court. Okay? It just wasn't. They said they could not agree. So there is no double jeopardy attached until that happens. And there is no legal basis to bringing back jurors. None at all. If one juror, just one, says that, nope, I found her guilty on all of the counts. I wanted her guilty on all of them. And I know that they know, like, that's going to happen. Like, the foreman is going to come in and say, no, I definitely did not vote her innocent on any of those, or not guilty on any of those. I don't know where they think they're going with this. Even if they got the jury to come back and some court to magically say, yep, okay, fine, we'll bring the jury back and start questioning them, which will never happen. But even if you did, I don't know where they think they're getting with that. Are you trying to like scare the people in the jury by saying you better say in public that she's not guilty or else? Like, I mean, I don't know where they think they're going to get. Not very far, I promise you that. But yeah, a federal court immediately smacked down their attempt to delay this trial again. Like, you know, it was so rude, just walking in on emotion and disrupting. You know what time? They know what time court starts, dude. Come on. They're there on time when they're supposed to be there on time, right? They did that on purpose. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. Yeah, exactly. There's zealous advocacy and then there's just plain bold-faced lying. And you can't. You have to have candor to the court. Every attorney has to have candor to the court. Like, yeah, scorched earth is exactly what they do. But they don't care who they burn on the way down, even if they're innocent people. And that's the problem that I have with that. Oh, Alessi will absolutely lose a jury. I think he needs to really go back to environmental law. It's not helping him. He talks in circles to the point where like one literally lost his point 20 minutes ago. Like he's not helping himself. And what I find fascinating is that the cult keeps like clapping their hands. Oh, Leslie's amazing. He did such a great job. And it's like, none of you even know what he said. Please repeat back to me what he said. Next time someone says that, ask them to repeat back to you everything that he said. I guarantee you that they cannot. I guarantee you. Because that's how, like, after the first like 3 minutes or 5 minutes of him talking, he says the same things over and over and over, just in different ways. And even when the judge made his points moot and was like, okay, well, they're not going to have this witness testify to how hard the ground was. They're going to be able to testify to how hard the ground was based on the evidence that's brought out before that person testifies. So they're not asking him to bring it out. Someone else who's expert on it will be bringing it out. So it's like that point was moot, but he still argued that point, and I forget what the other one was, for another 20 minutes, even though the judge was like, okay, she stopped him again and was like, okay, but those are not things that they're asking for. So like, you know, what else are you arguing basically? And he still, so it's like, bro, you just weren't made for this. All right. You just weren't. Like, let it go, my friend, let it go. Like, yeah, but that's the thing. If you wear down a jury, they're just not listening to what he's saying. So that's not a very smart tactic, you know, like, I don't know. I don't know if she will let that third party culprit defense stand. I think Hank made very good points about not allowing it to stand. It should have never been allowed to stand in the last trial. She said no, and they still tried to sneak it in and be, of course, as per usual, the lying, thieving, you know, defense team that they are, tried to work it in anyway. And it's like that should not have ever been allowed. That was an extra burden on the Commonwealth, and it's an unfair to the Commonwealth. And as Hank eloquently pointed out, and the Commonwealth would not have been allowed to do what they did. Why would they be allowed to do it? You know, like, I appreciate you. I think a lot of our longtime viewers rely on me to watch the trial and then listen to me report back. So I promise you that I will report back as much as I humanly can remember. I do take notes during trial, and I take a lot of them. So it's much easier for me to go over the actual points. And then sometimes I'll play clips. I'll go back and play clips. I do stream. I streamed the entire trial last time, with the exception of like, I think two separate days that I couldn't. But if there's ever a day that I can't, there's always going to be someone streaming it anyway. And I'll be watching, you know, so I can always report back after that. Well, that's the thing. He's going to drone on for hours just to introduce the goddamn experts, just for Hank to go up and be like, did the defense write the report for you? And all the sleeping jurors are going to wake up. Exactly. That's exactly what's going to happen, Leon. And it's kind of sad at this point. Like, it's really sad. If that's all the defense they got, they don't have much. Like, yeah, she does give the Eileen Warno stare. Penny, you right about that. Oh, listen, I don't either. I can't even answer that, Anna. I don't know how I do. I just do. You know, somebody else once asked me that. It was like, I don't even know how you do it. And I just do. I don't even think about it at this point. I just do. Because you want to know why? Because she's in more pain than I am. She is in more pain than I am. She's been in a lot more pain than I am her entirety of her life. So who am I to complain? you know, who am I to complain with everything that she's got going on? That's kind of how I feel sometimes. And I'm human. I complain, believe me. But I have to remind myself, like, if I'm complaining about my pain and she's got a high, tolerance of pain, then, who the hell am I to complain when she's in so much pain, Yeah, exactly. Warnos was on a righteous mission. You haven't seen it. Okay, I can read it. I can. I'm a little behind in the comments, so just give me a second. Yes, Jack, the defense has brought down way too many innocent people. It is disgusting. I know, right? Line away. CBD patches help a little bit. Just CBD though. They have like patches that have just CBD in them. And I found that those help a little, but there's not a ton of things that help with this kind of pain, unfortunately. Yeah, the federal court was never going to intervene in a state trial. I don't even know why they attempted that. I think, once again, it's really just to rile up their base of people. It was, again, another Hail Mary they knew wasn't even a Hail Mary. It was never going to be a winning thing for them, not by a long shot. We got to get the minion, guys. We got to get the minion. We got to get the little minion. She woke up from her nappy. Hi, Missy. You awake? You awake? Okay. You gonna come help Auntie? You wanna be my co-host? Oh, what's all the crying for? Okay, all right. Here we go. Chill, bro. Chill. You gonna be my co-host? You gonna co-host with me? Yeah? Okay. Hold on, guys. We're gonna grab the toy and the bottle and the burp cloth. Okay, all right, okay. All right, okay. Sorry, guys. And hold on, she's pulling my headphones. I gotta get my headphone out of her hand. Can Auntie have this? Thank you. Thank you, baby. All right. Yummy. All right. Where was I? Sorry. Yeah, a lot of innocent people have gotten hurt, and it's not okay. I will read it, DJ. That's why I got your thing up on the screen. I just want to try to scroll down some of these comments that I'm missing. Yeah, the federal court was never going to intervene. It was a wing and a prayer, and they knew that, Yeah. DJ said they can keep crying about it, but it's going to happen. They're getting desperate. Oh, they've been desperate for quite some time now, So what about third party? Anna says, how can you let them accuse people who've not been charged? Well, that's the thing. They're allowed to have a third party defense. If there is someone that they think did it, they can argue it. But with third party, they have to have evidence. They have to have some sort of evidence to go with this third party culprit defense. And that just does not exist. And I can tell you for 1,000% certainty that it does not exist because these people had nothing to do with what happened to John. Literally nothing to do with it. So that's how I can tell you that no evidence exists for this third party culprit defense because it didn't happen that way. Karen is the only one responsible for John's death. It's literally just that simple. And I don't understand how they think that they're going to be able to argue it when they don't actually have evidence. And I don't mean mistruths. I don't mean things they stretch to make look like it's bad or things that they stretch to make look like it's, sketchy. Like I literally mean actual real life evidence, which is something they have to do third party, and they just don't have it. It does not exist in any way, shape, or form. So I find that to be extremely funny. Let's see. Ooh, burpins. Where's the burpins cloth? There we go. Here we go, monkey. All right. She looks mad. It's because she just woke up. She looks mad. All right. So it's well that's a good point, Freak, that the federal investigation did clear them all. But he's spitting out names. I had to laugh when he said Colin's name because we all know Colin wasn't even there. Colin was not even there when Karen and John pulled up. He was literally already gone. So it's like, you really thought you were gonna try to use a third party of a person who we clearly established was not even there. Like, that's pretty sad, if you ask me. The only motion, Penny, is, at least that I've seen yet, is the one that Hank filed that I started the show with, which was the motion to get Karen's communications with Yannetti. Oh, this one's still tired. She just apparently didn't want to lay in her bed and sleep. Oh, that's not funny. You think that's funny? You think that's the funny? She thinks it's funny, you guys. That's funny. Yeah, well, they did know that, Aiden would put anything online that they handed them, Jane. That's what he does, Tulu wants us to know, what do you think about the defense blaming Brian Albert Higgins and Colin for John's death? They say they have proof. No, they don't. Yeah, no, they don't. I literally know for a fact they do not. It does not exist. You can bet what they're going to try to do is use something they take out of context or misrepresent as evidence. That's what they've been doing this entirety of this time. I really hope it backfires in their face. And Bev basically tells them to take a hike with it, because there is no evidence that anybody but Karen has anything to do with John's death. It's just that simple. Jack says Alessi loves Bev. Every time he starts telling her what he's going to do, she says, "Stop telling me." Yeah, because he doesn't need to tell everyone what he's going to do before he does it. And it's like, you're like making it an extra 20 minutes longer by telling us everything you're going to do. And he loves to tell the judge, "Well, Your Honor, I think you're going to do this. And Your Honor knows, and Your Honor said," and you're like, it's very risky to tell the judge what she said and then try to tell her what she meant. That's extremely condescending. And again, I don't know if they do this in New York, and that's what Alessi and people like Bettero are used to, are writing pointless letters about things that aren't true, because he can't put it in a motion, because once again, it wouldn't be candor to the court. So we wouldn't be allowed to put it in a motion. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have Bettero letters in a motion, like, because that's not candor to the court. He'd be lying. So he's got to put it in a Dear John letter, which, again, everything that Bettero's put in his, quote, Bettero letters are just a bunch of bullshit anyway. It's the same spin that Aiden and Karen and everybody else does, which is take information, take the context out of it completely, and spin it to make it fit your narrative. The fact that people haven't figured this out by now is freaking amazing to me. Literally. Like, well, that's the thing. He knows stuff because he's reading it. It's very clear. He wants to read it to the entire court and act like a jury's going to know what the F he's talking about. Like, come on, man. Like, the hearing ended yesterday basically with stuff that needs to still be resolved, which is why they have another hearing date, Tuesday, the 25th. So next Tuesday. Hey, Julie. It's not the THC. It's just the CBD. There's no THC in it. It's just CBD. Yes, little baby squeaks and screams. She might be crying about Alessi. I mean, she might be. No more Alessi, no more. Right? For real though. Oh my God, that would be hilarious. Right? Objection! The baby just cries. Like, no more Alessi. He's making us upset. That's funny. That is a great idea. That's hilarious. Or yeah, every time the defense doesn't get their way, because it's exactly what they do, is cry when they don't get their way. And little Mickey over here, she doesn't like to be put down. She likes to be held. She wants to be held 24/7. So if you put her down, she gets upset. Why are you looking at me? It's not funny. She's looking at me like, yeah, me. That's me. That's right. That's funny to you? That's funny? Am I funny? Or are you funny? Auntie's funny? Say no, Auntie. You're just my favoriteest aunties in the whole world, huh? Yes. Yes. Oh, Bev is definitely getting irritated. I know, right? She would be kind enough to let him have the pacifier. All right, let's see if I can read this motion to you. I'm using my phone today and not my laptop, so I don't really know how this is going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys off the screen because I have to open up another tab, which is what Jennifer McCabe did on her phone. So I have to open another tab, which is what, Celebrate picked up at 2:27 a.m. was her opening or closing a tab like I'm about to do. And I'm going to read it to you guys, but I'm going to start reading it and then I'm going to come back here into the comments to see if you guys can hear me because I'm not too sure if it'll, when I take you off the screen to read it, if it'll just stop my audio. So let's try this. Hold on. I know you don't want to hear Leslie. We won't let you hear Leslie. Don't worry, Joe. Don't worry. You don't have to listen to him today. I know it. All right. Let me know if you guys can hear me because right now would be the time that it would cut out. If it wasn't going to. All right. So this is the first one. This is 1, right? 1, 1, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, this is 1 through 3. Now I need to go back to you guys and see if you guys can hear me before I start trying to read this. No, I'm not going to read Alessi. Nope. We're not going to listen to that guy. Don't worry. Don't you worry, Missy. Don't worry. We're not going to listen to that guy. That guy's, he's boring, huh? That guy's boring. Okay, you could hear me? I just want to make sure everybody could hear me while I was over there, because if you can't, then we got a problem. But I'll read it as long as we can get, you guys can hear me. All right. I'll skip back over there so that we can read this to you guys real quick. All right. So this is what we got. Ooh, you want this? Ooh, yeah. All right. Huh? Yeah, please. All right. Let me get the first one up here. All right. It says Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. The Commonwealth's motion to compel communications between the defendant and Attorney Yannetti stored within the defendant's cell phone data. And it says the Commonwealth seeks all text, emails, or written communications between the defendant, Karen Reed, and Attorney David Yannetti, restricted to those communications that occurred between January 29th, 2022 and February 2nd, 2022. So then it has a footnote for 1. And 1 says, pursuant to a search warrant, the Commonwealth received the contents of the defendant's cell phone. Because of an observed attorney-client communication, the phone data was provided with the assent of the defense. Which is she chose to widely talk about them. In a sense, though, I think like talking about it to oh, you guys can hear it. Dang, can't hear any of it. God dang it. Jesus. Can you hear me now? Can you guys hear me now? That's annoying. Maybe if I try, should I? Now, yeah, see? That's what I mean. I might not be able to read it if it does that. You want to read it to them? You want to read it to them? Yeah, so it didn't it, so that's what it's doing. It's cutting the audio when I move to the different. You know what? I'm wondering if I can take a screenshot and do it. Mic is muddy again. Oh, you want to know why? Because I moved it because she keeps grabbing it. Because she keeps trying to grab the string of it. That's why. I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me better now? Is it better now? I did move one of the strings to behind me because it wasn't in my ear and she was pulling on it. So let me try popping it in my ear. All right, so most of you can hear me. Duck Hunter, I don't know why you're not gonna be able to see me because the camera's off. Okay, but you should be able to hear me. So you guys didn't hear any of the motion I was reading. God dang it. Gosh dang it. She's looking at me like, oh, why? This is the face I'm getting. I know, right? It's crazy, right? Ugh, annoying. You heard the first paragraph? Yeah. So maybe it took my phone a minute to cut out, but it's not even letting me read it. Interesting. Oh, you like that noise? She liked it. Is Auntie silly? Yeah, I'm silly. Nope, you can't have my headphones, girl. Yeah, see, I think what happens is it takes my phone a minute to like realize that I'm on a different screen, and I think that's when it decides it's going to cut out. So I don't think I can read it to you guys. I'll try from a different like device after my sister gets off her next call. I'll ask her to use her phone to read it. But for right now, basically, Attorney Brennan basically says like, yeah, she waived her attorney-client privilege by, widely disseminating it in these interviews, talking about it and her thoughts about it. And then to boot, she decides that she's going to give her take on what she thought about what said to her. So the Commonwealth argues that they should be able to get that very narrow time frame between January 29th, 2022 and February 2nd, 2022, because those are the days that she says she has these conversations that she then, tells the world about. So, I mean, yeah, you are waiving it by telling people about those conversations. Like, I don't know what in her brain or her attorney's brains, whatever, once again, so desperate to just have the cult do their theory that they don't seem to care, like it's insane to me. It's literally insane. It does not make much sense. Like, I don't know. To me, it's just, what were they thinking? What were they thinking? What were they thinking? And it's like, it's not hard to know that you should probably not let your client sit there and talk about conversations that she had with her attorney. It's like most of her attorneys are sitting right next to her, right there. You don't stop her, you just continue on. Let's try it this way. Hold on. Let me see if I ask somebody to text it to me, if that will work. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. And someone send me screenshots. I'm going to ask of Hank's motion. Because maybe I can do it that way. Maybe. Possibly. It also might be because I'm reading it off of my X account, and technically, um, that yeah, I never said that. Um, Karen Reed, free Karen Reed loves to say all sorts of shit. Yeah, I did see the lady in the hot pink. I was surprised that Lally didn't Taryn as well. Very surprised. Also, no offense, Black Rose Rain, but if you believe anything that FKR has to say about anything, then I really don't know what to tell you at this point. I really don't know what to tell you. I know Karen is guilty, but I would never swear on anybody's life anything. Like that's especially a child. Are you insane? Like that's not a thing. And that's another thing. What are we, 5? Like, did anybody see this like nonsense? Like, I don't know if anybody saw this, but I literally had to burst out laughing. Where Free Karen Reed thought it was like the funny, hilarious thing to be like, oh my God, but Lindsay and Elisa and I don't know who the other lady was. They wore blue eyeshadow. They were wearing, mind you, mine wasn't even blue because that's how stupid they are. Mine was like a gray color, grayish, like silver, but it was like a lighter gray. Um, but I find it, and then I was wearing like pink on the other side, so it was like 2 different colors, like a light pink and a gray, because I was wearing 2 different colors on each eye. It's called blending. But anyway, they literally make, oh my God, I wore blue eyeshadow in middle school. Oh, how embarrassing. Like, how ridiculous do you have to sound to talk about what color eyeshadow someone's wearing? As if someone wearing orange eyeshadow magically means they're like not smart or something, because my God, how dare they wear blue eyeshadow outside of middle school? Like, oh, you think nobody wears blue eyeshadow outside of middle school? Like, what, are you guys 5? Do you know how stupid you sound to the rest of the world? My God, how dare anybody wear blue eyeshadow, because the cult might try to insult them with an insult that's not even an insult. I'll wear blue eyeshadow every day of the week for the next week, just for you, Free Karen Reed. I will wear all the different colors of blue and show my entire audience what different things I can do with all those different colors of my eyeshadow. How about that? Just for you guys. Just for you guys. Never mind the fact that I love when they say anything about my makeup, because I get so many compliments on my makeup on like a daily basis when I'm in public. It's not even funny. So I just literally have to laugh. Like I have to laugh. It's like envy, like green and envy. That's all these people do, is complain about things that they're actually jealous or upset themselves about. It's amazing to me. It's just really phenomenal. Like I literally will just laugh. A couple of me and my friends will like read some of the stupidest things they've said for the day and laugh, because it's so funny to me. Like if you have to go there, you don't have an argument. If you have to make something like be something bad, quote bad, it's like saying, "Oh my God, she drinks Mary Lou's coffee. She must be an idiot." Like, yeah, because what kind of coffee someone drinks definitely has anything to do with anything. Like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. And it's like, this is what they're good at, though, trying to make something out of nothing. What I think gets me is that some of the newer people to the conspiracy don't see it yet. Like, how do you not see that? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense for me. Like, how some of these people don't go, wait a second, what does that have anything to do with anything? Like, what? What do you mean rebuttal? They're allowed after the cross to do a rebuttal if they have to. A lot of the time they don't, because they think they've made their point, you know? But if they think that they need to impeach someone, they will do a rebuttal and call someone back in. So let's see. I heard a little rumor a couple days ago, but I'm still trying to confirm if it's true or not. But when I do, You guys will be the the internet yeeted me, y'all. That happened. The internet, my sister's internet completely yeeted me. That happened. So I'm back, but it yeeted me. I don't know what was going on there, but it happened. Um, I watch body cam videos too. I've also foiled a bunch of them. Running on spite, yeah. See, that's the thing, Black Rose. I don't really care what they're saying. I tend to just ignore anything like that because it's stupid and petty, and they're like small children. And it's like, pay attention to me, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. Let me just say a bunch of stuff so someone pay attention to me and say, oh my God, that's awful. So I literally just ignore them because it's like not worth my time or energy to debunk every single lie they tell about me per day, which is quite a few, every day. They got to come up with something new. I know, you're so mad, right? You don't say that about my auntie. It's not nice. That's not very nice. She's mad, y'all. A 70s movies pimp. I can't. I love you, Anna. I just absolutely love you. Oh, they have a private Facebook group. That's amazing. Oh God, they're pathetic human beings. It's really sad. Well, I bet what they did was took a clip of me saying I swear on my kid's life about something actually 100% true, and then like added it to something else. Like for God knows how long ago. I mean, they're just sad human beings. They spend most of their day just trying to like mock or insult or harass people, and it's like, dude, get a life. Do something with yourself. Spend some time with people you love. You know, go give your grandma a hug. Help your neighbor carry groceries upstairs. Like, do something other than be a vile, awful, mean, horrendous human being. Because I know that they know how to be at least semi decent. It just doesn't seem like they can in the last 2 years be semi decent to anyone for that matter. It's just sad. Oh, did he say he's a paragon of journalistic integrity? I mean, I would just spit my coffee out if he did. That'd be hilarious. Hi, keep it real. I watched the second episode of the documentary Parson said last night. They talked about, yeah, they did. I watched the second and third, and I can't believe some of the stuff Karen said. Like, she basically was like, well, they got harassed. Like, well, they shouldn't have been witnesses though. So who cares? Like, I'm obviously paraphrasing, but she basically said like, well, who cares? I don't think they should have been witnesses. They should have been suspects. So, oh well. Like, yeah, that's definitely how it works, Karen. Definitely. Definitely. Like, I can't. I literally can't. I don't know. I mean, I know they have no true bill once, but again, I'm not sure if it happened again. A rebuttal would have been given prosecution with the last word before closing arguments. So they have the choice to rebut witnesses and recall witnesses, but they don't rebut like a closing, if that's what you're asking. They don't rebut that. It's we can rebut witnesses, but then they rest the case after. They rest their case, then the defense goes, and then they can choose to recall witnesses if they want, but Lally did not. I don't know if Hank Brennan will. I'm not really sure, but no, none of this whole thing makes her look like a decent human being, and I'm not really sure any of these people know how to be, decent human beings. That's kind of the problem here. It's like, grow a set, dude. Like a lot of these people, I've had a lot of people come to me privately, and once they've figured it all out, and there's been quite a few apologies from people. And then usually those apologies are followed by, I am completely ashamed. I am completely mortified that I believed any of this. I'm ashamed that I took part in this or any of it that I wouldn't have normally. I don't understand why I did. But now that I see the light, what they always tell me is it's hard to see when you're in it. Once you're out of it, or once you have some sort of time out of it, or whatever snaps you out of it, you realize, dear Lord, what have I taken part in? So no, usually in Massachusetts, they have to have the witness lists given to the judge. I mean, in trial, there is a chance that the prosecution says, well, Your Honor, we want to bring in this rebuttal witness for something that a rebuttal defense witness said. But that doesn't normally happen too often here. So, and we don't usually get closing rebuttals either. I wish we did. That would be great, because a lot of the things that the defense says, you want to be able to say, wait a second, hold on, that's not true because of X, Y, and Z. But I mean, let's make no mistake, Hank is really good at knowing what the defense is going to say or do, because it's the same song and dance over and over and over with them. So it's not something that you couldn't guess, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the times you can guess what they're going to say because it's something that they've said before. We kind of know their whole, shtick by now. Well, that's the thing, DJ. That's part of cluster B personality, is people who are narcissistic or egotistical. They don't actually see that they look like complete nutcases. Like they don't see what other people see of them. They see something completely different. That's part of why it's so dangerous, is because they think it's all gravy. It's all good. They look amazing. Did anybody see the clip of Karen where she says, Elle Magazine wants to do a feature of me, and she flips her hair back and she asks Jackson, should I do it? And he's like, oh yeah, you should do it. And she's like basically, I'm so amazing and I'm so awesome. How disgusting. How disgusting. You are a defendant in a murder trial. I'd be more worried that I was going away for life than flipping my hair and saying, should I do it? No, you shouldn't effing do it, because that would not be smart. But you know what, Karen, please go ahead and do it. Do it. Do it. Do it so that you can keep talking and all your statements can keep contradicting and we can have them for trial. Please, for the love of God, do it. That's it. If you think everyone else is the problem, just like Anna said, you're the narcissist. Like that's the thing, that's the problem. Is these people have to point the finger at everyone else. They cannot take responsibility. Have you ever seen the sewer turtle take responsibility for a single thing he's ever done wrong? A single thing, even a small thing. He doesn't take responsibility. He does not know how. He'll downplay, he'll victim blame, he'll trash someone else, he'll literally set someone else up if he has to, but he will not take responsibility. He just won't, Like that, Peggy did lose a son and a daughter for that matter. You're never supposed to lose your children before yourself, ever. As a parent, I've had to think about that for many, many years with my daughter. You're never supposed to lose your child before yourself as a parent. And there's, especially, I know how Peggy felt, especially when her daughter died, because her daughter had cancer. And I mean, my kid has a terminal illness. So as a parent, you live with the realization that you may lose your child before your life is over, before you're old. And that should never happen. And it's a scary feeling to live with every single day, not knowing if today's the day that you're going to wake up and your child's not going to be on this earth anymore. That's a hard pill to swallow for anyone. For anyone. And then Peggy lived through it times 3 because she lost her son-in-law too. And make no mistake, when your child marries someone or has a significant other, they're like family to you as well. So she lost times 3. Those children lost 2 parents and then their third grunkle. Or, you know, what they called him, Uncle Dad, or there was a little saying that they called him. Dad, uncle, something like that. Dunkle, that was it. Dunkle. He was their dunkle. And it's for him to step up the way he did. He had no kids. He had no kids. And he stepped up. Funkle, that's it. Funkle. Thank you. Father, uncle. Thank you. Funkle, that's it. I think about how Peggy felt because I feel it every day when her daughter was dying. And I haven't lost a child to cancer, but I've lost, and I know what that feeling is like. And I have one child that, you know, has a terminal illness. So it's an ongoing feeling that you have. And you got to be a pretty strong person to have to live through that every day and drag yourself out of bed and live life knowing that you're on this earth and your child is not. And or children in her case. It's awful. And then what these people have put her through on top of it. You gonna tell them? Yeah. What they put her through on top of it is just awful. It's awful. Like, I'm sure your grandmother never recovered. Your poor grandmother. It's terrible. Like, and yeah, the mocking, Joan, that I was disgusted. I wanted to go throw up. How disgusting do you have to be to mock a mother who lost her son? That's awful. It's terrible. You don't do that. You just don't. Hey, let's take this little sleep sack off, you stinky. Maybe that's why you're mad, because you can't get your feeties out. Mommy put the sleep sack on you so you take a nap. Let's get those feeties out of there. Huh? Yes. She's mad. She wants those feet out, guys. She wants the feet out. All right. That better? Is that better, Missy? Yes. Wow. Okay. Much better, huh? You want to walk around with Auntie? We're going to walk. Let's have a little walk around the house. Yeah, that mocking of Peggy made my stomach drop. It was the most disgusting thing I think I've ever seen in my life. Really bothered me. Still bothers the fuck out of me. Like, who would do that? Like, who? You have to be a cold-hearted person to do some shit like that. You know? It was gross. Yeah, you do have to grieve. You know, the normal dream of a normal childhood. I've done that. She's 20, so she's been living with this her entire life. It's just gotten worse over the last 6 months, so it's just a little different now. But you do grieve. You know, my sister has 2 children, and my nephew is autistic, and it's almost the same thing. You have to grieve the normal childhood you thought your child might have. You know, when it comes to kids with terminal illnesses. But Peggy killed kids were adults, you know, and these grandkids she, you know, I'm sure helps with. And you got to look at those kids every day thinking, like, in their very short amount of life on this earth, they have been through more grief and more just ugliness in this world. Like, they should be wrapped in love and warmth, and people should be showing them how amazing people can be when they come together, not how shitty people can be. And they're not really teaching, they're teaching these kids that people can be shitty as long as they look out for themselves and they don't care about anybody else. The selfishness of this world will eat people alive. It's gross. There's nothing more to me as a pet peeve than selfishness. And maybe it's because I've been a volunteer advocate for 18 years. Maybe it's because I'll always help anybody who asks for my help, even when I can't even help myself. But selfishness irks the F out of me. Nobody could take the time to go next door and shovel your neighbor's, walkway when they're elderly. Like, you can't help your elderly neighbor carry their groceries into the house, or maybe the single mom who lives next door drop a few groceries on her step. Like, people really need to realize that, like, you could be living above, below, right next to somebody that needs really desperate help, and they're just too proud to say it. Or when they do, or when they have asked, they just get made fun of, heckled, made to feel bad. A multitude of things that I've heard from other people who I've helped. It's sad. It makes me sad for this world and the state that this world is in, Yeah, that stare was like, she was disgusted by Hank, but it's like, you can be disgusted all you want, Karen, but like, ultimately Hank's going to be the reason that you get to sit in jail and that the rest of us get some goddamn justice. Okay? Because make no mistake, there are more than just the witnesses in her case waiting for justice. Because this is extended, and I've said this before on my shows, a lot of them, far beyond just the witnesses and the family. This is extended far beyond that. We're into anybody who's spoken up for the family, like I have. I've been harassed every goddamn day since the winter of 2023. And I literally mean every day, whether it's a text message or an email or a prank phone call, deliveries they used to send to my house, like all sorts of, you have no idea, no idea the hell that some of us go through. And a lot of times it'll kind of get brushed off and people will be like, well, that's just noise. This is about justice for John. Yes, it is about justice for John. But we also would make a huge mistake in just ignoring the pain that other people outside of the core people, which are, the family and the witnesses, are feeling and what I've been through, because they have sacrificed a lot to speak out. And so it would be ignorant of us to just wish it away as drama or wish it away as noise. People's pain is not noise. It is not drama. It's real. They're real. They have real lives. And they gave up some of their real life to defend people. And I think it's a mistake to act like they don't exist, because I promise you, we exist. I've talked to many of them myself, and I let them know that they're not alone, and that they're not, just glossed over. And that's why I mention it so much on my show, because some of these people feel like their sacrifice didn't mean anything. Because anytime that they say anything, it's, oh, well, this is about justice for John. And it's like, yes, we are trying to get justice for John, but to ignore other people's sacrifice in the meantime and the hate that they have been through, the hell they have been through, is a mistake. It's wrong. And I won't be a part of it. I will stick up for everyone who has been through hell in this case. Everyone, every single person who has been harassed into oblivion, whether witnesses, family, or family of family, friends of family, strangers who have put their neck on the line. I don't care who you are. Everyone who went through an inch of pain because of this case deserves justice in this case. And every single one of them is waiting for it. And I do believe that Hank will get it, and then we move on to hoping that Cosgrove can get it. There are other people in the sewer turtle realm of victims, and I've spoken with many, many of them. Some of them who have never even come out publicly because they're worried that they will be harassed into oblivion like the ones who have come out publicly have been. And that's not fair. That's not right. That man has so many victims, you guys have no idea. If I could list them all off publicly, I would. But as we know, they would get harassed into oblivion. But what I can tell you is what I have seen, their evidence, their testimony, their feelings matter. And the things that I've seen him do, the threats, the blackmail, all of it, it's disgusting. And the fact that he's so bold that he's got no problem doing it on Facebook Messenger or text message or X, he's got no problem sending a private message and threatening anyone. And it's funny because people are like, I don't think he'd be that stupid to do that. That's what you hear the cult say. I don't think he'd be that stupid. Well, let me burst your bubble real quick. He has been and is that stupid and continues to be that stupid. So, yeah. Yeah, the hatred is disgusting just in all of them. Oh, you like the thumbnail? It is, right? I thought that thumbnail was a good one, you know? I don't think so. I don't think, not that I know of. I mean, you could go, I know there's a website, but I don't think that they had one a long time ago, but I think it's been closed for a while. So I don't think that one's still open, Duck Hunter. I'll ask and see if there's something or somewhere where they still want things, and I'll get back to you on that. I'll update comments in this video when the video is over, and I'm not live anymore, but I will ask for you. Hi, Potluck. Also, if you guys haven't already, I know I've been here, a little bit over an hour with you guys, so make sure that you hit the like button, please, and the subscribe button if you haven't already. Share this video with like-minded people or people who want to hear truth, who want to be able to express their opinions, who want to be part of a community where we accept people and we don't just rash people 24/7 because that's not normal. And it isn't normal. And if you can, there's a little ticker on the bottom of the screen. If you can give a donation to the channel, it's very, very important that we try to keep this channel running because there's not many of us. And we only survive on the donations from you guys. We only survive from you guys' helpfulness when it comes to this kind of stuff. And the donations go straight to covering the costs that I have for streaming. And then just everyday costs, getting back and forth to the hospital, groceries, toilet paper, breadstick money, TP money, You guys know the joke about breadstick money. At least most of you do. So I really, really appreciate it. I do read them. I don't read government names though, because people really have funny comments or questions, so I do read them on here. Although today I am using my phone. So if you do it on PayPal, you'd have to tell me so I can go and look and then come back because I'll have to go onto a different screen. So, well, yeah, it is worth talking about Potluck. It's completely gone. He has no reputation anymore. None. Zero. Oh crap, I forgot to put, sorry guys. See, I'm like in La La Land right now trying to do 100 things. That's the donation information. Might have wanted to mention that. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. And there's a ticker that goes on the bottom of the screen that tickers by that you'll see that will tell you all the information. It's just really small. So I'm going to take that one down. But if you still want to, you can do it that way with the ticker. I know it's small. I can't make it bigger. I'm sorry. Most people ask me, can you make it bigger? I cannot. I'm sorry. I've tried 7 ways. It will not happen. Hi, Anna. Right? Don't get me started. Well, that's government. Yeah. I will ask though. Thank you, Clash. I did do that. I made that thumbnail right before I came on today. I thought it would be a good thumbnail. Yeah, a lot of the stuff over there, Taryn, is completely vile. It's disheartening, really. I feel like the world is getting shittier, and it makes me sad for my kids. One day I'll be gone, and I don't want my kids to live in a shitty world where everything's shitty. I want them to show compassion and empathy and want to help others and want to be a part of the community and want to help in their own communities. And, I see a lot of selfishness, and it's sad, and I hope it can change, Oh, a lot of us think that she definitely hit him intentionally. I think we will find out, though, when it comes to the new phone data, because Hank told us that he even knows when John took his seatbelt off, which is not information that we got last time. You know, we did not have that last time. We had no idea what time John took his seatbelt off. So Hank says that he knows what time John took his seatbelt off. So that's interesting. I know that they got a lot. I do know that. I know that they got quite a bit of data from the chip on, chip off again that was missed the first time around. I don't know exactly, like at least last time I kind of had an idea of what they had. This time I don't really have an idea of what they have. I just know that it's a lot of information. A lot. They have a lot of information. I think it was 8, if I'm correct, 8 lines of data that Hank said that they have now that they did not have before, that were missed. And I think it's funny because it was actually the defense's expert that did the chip on, chip off last time, apparently. And I have to wonder to myself if it was intentionally missed on purpose. You know, I mean, it very well could be that it was just missed. But the thought does cross my mind that it might have been intentional on the defense expert's part, you know, because why else would we be missing so much information? So much of that car data. Some cars will tell you what songs you're playing and at what time. Some have the actual GPS coordinates of where you're going and coming and all of that, like all of it. So I don't know what we got. You know, some will even tell you the temperature. There are sensors, you know, in the seats. So there are sensors that will tell you like when someone, so even though like we know what time John took his seatbelt off, that tells me that they probably have the same sensors that my sister's car has, which is when you don't have your seatbelt on in the passenger seat, it'll ding. It'll just keep dinging and dinging and dinging and dinging and dinging, which means like if I get up off that seat, it'll stop dinging, right? There's no pressure there to let it know that there's a human in the seat. If I just put down a box of stuff in the seat, it doesn't ding. So it clearly knows like what would be a normal weight of a human, right? And what's just a box of stuff. So now I wonder if Hank said they have the time that the seatbelt came off, if they also have the time that he got up out of that car. Exactly. Because the sensor itself would shut off once his pressure is no longer on the seat. So it sounds like they have quite a bit. And as we know, none of it is going to be good for Karen because nobody else did this. Like, so that's why you don't hear the defense trying to scream it from a bullhorn somewhere or sending it to the sewer turtle to talk about, because it's not good for her, you know? It's just not. Like, was the biome expert in last trial? Do you know what the name of the I only remember the names of the expert. I could tell you if you tell me the name of the expert. Interesting about the documentary is you can see the video so clearly rather than watching the trial on your phone through Court TV. Yeah, I know. I usually stream it either through Court TV or Law and Crime. Just because sometimes Court TV conks out, sometimes Law and Crime conks out. Sometimes the volume is terrible. They really need to do something about that. Like in Court TV, like they need to get microphones closer or something because like the volume sometimes is just awful and you really can't hear very well. But, you know, we do the best we can. Red Racer said they will have everything. They will have how many times the windshield wiper cycle. That I was told about by someone that those have sensors, obviously, just like the seats do. So yeah, it would tell you if the windshield wipers were on, off. Like they've got the newest Burla software for the new. Yeah, that's one of the problems we ran into last. We're waiting on the newest Burla software to be able to even read some of the data on her car. We weren't even able to read some of it at first because they didn't have the newest soft date for Burla. And that was a problem. So then they wanted to see if they could use a different software to read it. And I can't remember if they ultimately did use a different software to read it. And that's why they had to do the chip on, chip off, or they yeah, I think that's what they did, was try to get a different, and that might be why so much of the data was missed, because the Burla update wasn't ready, and they couldn't just wait for a Burla update for a trial. You can't do that, you know? Yeah, fingers crossed is right. That is right. The comedy of Rita and her army walking into the courtroom uninvited. I know, so ridiculous. Ridiculous, Karen Reed. We're making up our own words over here, you know, like Aiden says pot of food. We're going to call it ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Frank. Oh, yeah, that's exactly how we know it's not good for her, because they don't scream it from the rooftops. And make no mistake, even things that they think they can spin a little, they scream from the rooftops, you know? To be honest, O'Connor, I don't think the judge liked anyone. The judge seemed a little peeved in general, you know? The passenger airbags are turned on or off depending on the weight of the seat. That's interesting. See, my dad and my grandfather were mechanics. I grew up in my dad's shop, and my grandfather's shop for that matter. But the thing is they didn't have a lot of this technological stuff back then, you know? My ex-husband was also a mechanic, but they didn't have a ton of, like, they had some, obviously, but they did not have all of these different bells and whistles back then. So I know a lot of stuff now, but even there's some stuff I don't know. That's why I rely on people like Bree, who does stuff with cars, and Freak, to my technological dude, to get me that kind of information, because if we're going to talk about it, we should get the correct information. We should have the right information, so that everyone talking about it could possibly know what the hell they're talking about, instead of just pretending because the sewer turtle told them so. That's what really gets me, is he can say whatever. If he told them right now that the sky was purple, and they looked outside and they really realized it's not purple, they would convince themselves it's a tinge purple. And then they would go online convincing everybody else that, even though I just took this picture and you can clearly see that it is blue, not purple, don't you see the tinge of purple? It's right there in front of your face. It's like when they say they can't see the taillight is cracked. Like, I'm sorry, what are you looking at? Everyone else on planet Earth can see that the taillight is gone, but you? Come on. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Well, I mean, here's the thing. I don't know why they didn't have a tech stream expert there, to be honest. I just did. I mean, again, I think Lally had an unfair hill to climb when it came to that third party, because he had to spend most of his time debunking a conspiracy that never happened, which is exactly what Brennan pointed out, which is it's an unfair burden on the Commonwealth for them to run around having to debunk a conspiracy theory that never happened, because the defense is using a third party culprit defense that they're not entitled to just use without evidence of a third party, which they do not have. Then they have the audacity to sit there and say they're going to identify their three people for their third party, and say Colin Albert is. First of all, make no mistake, none of them are third party anything. Okay, none of them had anything to do with John's passing. They just all happened to, at one point or another, be near the house, in the house, or had left the house. And in Colin's case, he had left the house before Karen and John ever even pulled up. So I'd love to know how they think they're going to pin a third-party culprit theory on a teenager who was not even there when Karen and John pulled up. You know, like, come on. Yeah, the chip had to be, like, soldered back together is what happened. So basically they had to solder it. Like, when you do a chip off, there's a chance that you destroy it forever and you get the information that you get. That was a risk that they took the last time, that it could be destroyed forever. Thankfully, it was not destroyed forever. And Hank had them solder it back together. So they did a chip on and then another chip off to get the rest of the information. You know, I read data on race cars all the time for a living. They should be able to bury her alone on just data. Oh, I love that, Fred Reeser. I love that. See, you can be our data person then when it comes to that stuff. What do you think will be on it? Do you think they'll have the GPS coordination of her and her every movement on the car? Because that right there will bury her. It will literally bury her, you know? I might be for my cousin Vinny. Yeah, my grandfather's father owned a shop, and my dad owned a shop. My grandfather's father's shop was in Randolph. That's where my grandfather grew up. And my dad's shop, my dad and my uncle, it was in Beverly. My ex-husband was a mechanic, but he just worked at a shop. He did not own a shop. But I grew up in those garages as a kid. My father used to love to tell us like how to do something and like thoroughly show us every step of the way. My sister could probably tell you. Like he literally was very serious about showing us how to do it. He didn't want his daughters to not know how to do stuff for themselves when it came to cars. He was very clear about that. I do have a lot of mechanics in the family, that's for sure. Well, none of them are living anymore, so there's that. My grandfather died when I was 17. My father passed from suicide when I was 21. So, no mechanics left in the family anymore. Just me. My mom calls me when there's something wrong with her car. This guy might be periwinkle, you know? If you said so, Parson, I believe you. I believe you. They would. Each of them would tweak the color of the photo a little bit until it was like fully purple. Like, see? See? And they would swear to God that it wasn't doctored, altered, or made up. It's insane. Like, insane. Jimmy's memory chip. Frank said CM's memory chip to access its data directly as attempted in 2023 without yielding new vehicle information. They did get new vehicle information, though. Yeah, people dancing under a purple sky. Yeah, yeah, as in Powell. Every time I'm like, dude, come on, Cosgrove. You know the kid's name by now. I mean, how can you not? How can you even Colin? No, it's Colin Cosgrove. Come on, man. Like, come on, dude. Like everybody thinks of Powell when they say it, and it's like, especially older people, like obviously not younger people, but older people do that. And it's like, dude, come on. By now, you absolutely should know where Danny is, the name of Danny, and Colin's friggin' name. Like, come on, dude. I know these aren't younger people who like, are, internet well versed, but like, come on now. Seriously. Like, no, she shouldn't, Jimbo. I agree, but she needs an answer as to who exactly they're going to claim is going to be their third party in order to decide whether they're allowed to have this third party culprit defense. I think they should have done it at a sidebar. There should have been no chance that they were allowed to say any of that in open court because it just lets them, push their conspiracy a little bit more. Conspiracy. It's just aggravating that she let them do that. It's like, okay, yeah, then you went to sidebar, but not, until you let them say something ridiculous first. Like, so stupid. Pink Pony Club. That's funny. I love that, Red Racer. I love that you do that. At least we have some sort of expert in this stuff. I am not an expert in it. I know a little bit about it, but I am definitely no expert when it comes to that. That's for sure. Freak said it depends. Just because the car monitors signals, it doesn't necessarily mean it logs them all. And even then, maybe not with the time resolution that may be best, but it's certainly interesting. Yeah, it is definitely interesting. My nephew said school was busting, y'all. That's what he said. He's 5. And he got a dinosaur sticker, guys. It's a very serious dinosaur sticker. And a dinosaur mask. Good dinosaur mask and a sticker. I told you stop DMing me. I'm defectificated. Like, listen, you're not defective, ma'am. Okay? And your Canadian is A-okay with me. 2023 is a base extract, but the extract after chip on a new software is hopefully voluminous. It is voluminous. I know that for a fact. It is voluminous. We just don't know exactly what is included in that volume. Why is the grifter Little Melanie LTL so quiet today. I don't know. I did, like I said, I heard a little rumor the other day. I have not been able to confirm nor deny said rumor, but it was about a grand jury, and I'm still trying to work on that. So I don't know. I'm not really sure. I know a lot of us want to know if she went back to 34. Did you go back to 34 Fairview? Because how else did you know where he was other than either you went back or obviously you remember exactly where you hit him and probably where he could have possibly landed. So it's like, but did she go back? Did she go back before she met with Jen and Carrie? Like, I know, right? A secret. Well, they were having that word. They were having a 12-hour fundraiser the other day, and it's like, dude, is this real life? Like, or not so secret? Yeah. Yeah, John, was that you? That's what I want to know. Like, can they get that audio a little clearer so that we can hear exactly what was said? Like, clearly she was very upset about Bella's mom, and Jackson lied again when he said, oh, that wasn't talked about till the next day. That's not true. It was talked about twice that day, twice. Once when John got lost, and Jen said it was near Bella's mom's, and then again when Jen and Kerry were in the car with her. So that's 2 times in that day. So Jackson's an idiot, or just doesn't remember his own stuff, or I don't know, maybe purposefully misleading on purpose because that's what he does, and that's what the judge found. I believe she did go back. She knew exactly where he was. That doesn't necessarily mean she went back, though. I mean, to me, it doesn't really matter whether. Yeah, you think so? Whether she went back or not, because realistically, she knows where she hit him. So she would know whereabout he would be. So if there's a lump in the snow and the rest isn't lumped, she's going to know that's him, right? Like she's going to know. So yeah, she did say they were not fighting. He did say they weren't fighting, and they clearly, very clearly, were fighting. It is insane to me, like that they just continue to say things that they know are not true at this point. After the judge gave them a very, strict talking to about their lying problem, they got liabilities. Lots and lots of liabilities. Oh yeah, she was pissed. It would reinforce the murder 2 charge if she went back. It absolutely would. Even the baby thinks so. But remember, they don't need to really prove intent. All they need to prove is that a reasonable person would have known that backing up in the snow at a higher rate of speed, drunk, DUIing in a blizzard, could result in injury or death to someone. That's all they have to prove is that backing up at night DUIing. You don't even have to prove, the snow part, like just DUIing and driving that you would have known that you could have hurt or killed someone, like a reasonable person. Not that she's reasonable, but that's that's all they have to prove. Yeah, she went straight to his body. But that's why I say, like, whether she went back or not doesn't really matter. If she went back, yeah, she knew he was there because she went back. But even so, when she hit him, she has to have at least an idea of where he landed when she hit him. So she would know where to look then too, Yeah, you pervert. Like, yeah, because she, had to. I mean, it's insane to me. Like, she says she never gets that drunk and she blacks out. Well, then you would know without a doubt that you didn't hit John. It wouldn't be a could I have or did I have. You would have known for a fact. I don't necessarily know if they would bump her charges up if she went back. I think that her charges, the way they are, pretty much represent what happened. She didn't have, it doesn't seem like she had some sort of detailed plan to murder him that night. I think it was heat of the moment, which murder 2 would make sense for, It would have been classic if Hank could have played that voicemail from Karen after AJ said, no kidding. That would have been amazing. Like, well, Your Honor, I was kind of stunned that the other judge didn't allow Hank to play the clip of her. You were stunned too, baby? Yeah? I was stunned that the judge didn't let Hank play that clip of Karen on the ID discovery thing, because normally judges will let you play it because it's part of like evidence they're trying to show you, part of their argument, so that you can decide on it, which makes me think the judge already decided on it and didn't need to see the clip, because why else would you say, no, I'm going to deny, not, I don't want to see the clip, because it is relevant, either that or the judge was trying to save Karen some humiliation, but still, like, it is relevant to his argument. Why not let him play it? I mean, to be fair, Canoni would have let him play it. So, yeah, he didn't look mortally wounded. In the documentary, she acted like it was normal for the driver in person. I will say it's not uncommon for people in Massachusetts to drive in a blizzard after drinking, that's for sure. We're used to driving in the snow, so it's not any different than. I think, kiddo, you're pulling my ears, my headphones out here. It wouldn't be in Massachusetts. We're just so used to the snow, and like a lot of it, that I will like say we are like pros when it comes to driving in the snow. Like in some states, when it snows, like everything stops because nobody knows how to drive in the snow. Like here, almost everyone does, and if they don't, they just stay home. Like, for instance, my mother is not a good driver in the snow, so my mother will not drive in the snow. She will just stay home. Me, on the other hand, I am like a pro when it comes to driving in the snow. So, I did plowing for a while, way back in the day, and I dated my daughter's father. He did tow trucks and plowing, so I used to go with him all the time too. And that's how I kind of learned how to plow, and I was able to do it on my own years later. But um, we're kind of pros at just driving a regular car in the snow at this point. So yeah, a lot of times people will have like blizzard parties, or just go out to a bar that's open, that's in the same area that you live, and you'll have people stay over your house, and you'll all just go to a bar that's nearby and then go back to your house and they'll stay there. So it's not uncommon for people to get in the car after doing that and drive after they've had a few. So, but I don't think it's on the regular in Canton every day. you know. Yeah, your cousin from Boston. I love that commercial. Your cousin from Boston. Like the first time I ever saw that commercial, I was like, "Oh, that's so accurate. It's not even funny." Like Hank said in the beginning. I think Hank said in the beginning. Duck Hunter said if she knew he was dying but didn't call for help, she would need stiffer charges. I mean, I feel like if he had that kind of information, then he would have already upgraded those charges. I just don't think that they have that, you know, as evidence. That very well could be what happened, but I don't think that they have it as like ironclad evidence where they would upgrade the charge, because I think they would have absolutely already upgraded the charges. The grand jury that I keep hearing about is more pertaining to the conspiracy to witness intimidate. And I don't exactly know if they would make the charge witness, a conspiracy to intimidate witnesses, or if they would go even further and include other people into a bigger RICO case, because a lot of these people, if you pull all the parts together, could be a RICO case. I've said that since forever. If you really wanted a lot of these people involved, you go with Aiden and the blackmail, the money, Karen, like you could very well put a RICO case together. The feds usually love RICO. Oh. Well, that's my cue. I have something else I have to tend to, guys. So I will let you go. I will pop in tomorrow. I have a live I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm just not sure what time, if it's going to be morning or afternoon, but I'll let you guys know. Please make sure you give a like and a subscribe. I will continue to answer any and all questions you guys have. You can tag me. You could send me a message, Facebook, Twitter, or you could hold it for tomorrow. But I love you guys. I appreciate you guys for always popping in. Please make it a like, a subscribe, a share. If you can, please donate to the channel.
We are a very tiny channel. We need the support. I'll make sure that if anybody does, I read it on tomorrow's live because I can't pull up the screen right at the moment, but I always make sure that if anybody donates, I make sure I read it aloud because it's my way of saying thank you, unless somebody asks me not to. So I love you guys. Thank you so much. All the information to donate is at the bottom of the screen on the ticker. If you're on my replay crew, I love you guys too. And hopefully on my replay crew, some of you guys can join in tomorrow with us. But thank you guys so much always. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow.